get fired.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
I just do that to
sync
it. Yeah.
Cool.
But how are you doing?
Good. How far do we want to get? Because I'll talk about like bitches, faggots, beaners, like.
Dude.
And by bitches I mean vegans, and by faggots I mean vegans, and by beaners I also mean vegans.
Yeah, I mean, bean is
fucking bean
is animal friendly.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what the few people who listen to this podcast, that's what they're here for. They want to hear some crazy shit. That's why, I don't know, that's why the first video episode I had Colin on. I was like, they're going to hear some shit.
Yeah, that just primes the fucking...
I was like, I want people to know what this is about.
I always appreciate when Colin and I are on the same show, because I'm like, okay, my shit is not going to be near as shocking as it normally is. But,
yeah.
So let me just really quickly say to any vegans that might be like, fuck you, I meant that shit.
Yeah, vegans are gay.
Yeah. My dad was a vegan for a while. He was super gay. Actually, it was a medical condition. He couldn't afford the penis reduction surgery, so it wasn't like...
Yeah, well, they do say if you have you seen the South Park episode where one of them like becomes vegan and they're like, dude, you can't, you're gonna turn into a pussy.
Oh, when he starts growing the vagina. Yes, fuck yeah, dude. Oh my, I love South Park, but they got the faggot episode wrong because they should have put that on vegans instead of bikers.
I love the biker one because
it was fucking good.
My dad and my brother both drive Harleys.
Yeah.
Well, I guess ride is the word, not drive.
Yeah.
I showed that to them immediately.
Oh, when I got into I got a lot of friends who were X1 percenters just to get into recovery. Like the first meeting I ever went to was full of fucking X1 percenters and shit, and I was like, because I was a gang member, and that was some of the people we hated, and they hated us. I was like, I was shocked that they were accepting, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk more about that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm just riffing. Take this where you want to go.
I'm gonna flip the camera.
Can I play with your nuts?
Yes.
I'm licking Drew's nuts. God, I'm horrid. I'm a fucking hack. Sorry.
Flip that.
That's cool. Now we can see ourselves.
Yeah.
Now I can see how fat I look.
I just want to know that we're actually both getting into the shot well.
The tattoo says daddy. It actually says chub daddy, and I got that before I knew that was a gay thing, but I'm probably a little bit gay. So
how long ago did you get that tattoo?
Fuck, it was forever ago. I picked up a name in recovery. It was I used to always say, want to see my chubby, and just like a stupid catchphrase way before I was doing comedy. And one night I dropped trow on these girls that were staring at us at a Village Inn parking lot, so they started calling me Chubby and Chubs and Chub Daddy after that. I was actually skinny when they started calling me that, so I had this Chub Daddy tattoo. When I'd be driving Lyft and gay dudes would hit on me, I'm working into it, and I was like, why? Am I putting off a vibe? But I'm also Buddhist, and I had the Buddhist flag on the dash, and it looks a lot like the gay pride flag. So I was just advertising because my body type by that time, being overweight, would be Chub Daddy in the gay community. I had so I got Chub Daddy tattooed on my arm, and what they think is a gay pride flag on the dashboard. Like dudes would literally invite me in. One dude gave me a massage one night while I was driving. It was fucking good. I almost sucked his dick for real. When he invited me in, I was like, I might go.
Dude, being gay has to be wild because dudes are just going for it all the time. Like, there's
this is the thing. They're as aggressive as we are. I actually asked a buddy of mine. I was like, dude, am I putting off a gay vibe? He's like, what do you mean? I was telling him these gay dudes keep hitting on me before I figured this shit out. And he was like, dude, they're guys like us. They hit on you aggressively. It ain't gonna be like a female trying to let you know she's interested.
That's what the thing is, like, a chick will, like, if a chick is, like, aggressively, like, pursuing a dude, like, she kind of has some reinforcement because she probably rarely gets turned down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she has a high batting average compared to, like, a dude who's, like, going after chicks. But then, like, if you're a gay dude and you're going after other gay dudes, you're probably batting, like, 100. Like, you're...
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know how... it was cool, though. I drove a lot of gay dudes that were, to bars and shit. They just like us. Like, they talk shit.
Besides the fact that they're going to hell. But
yeah, for sure. But, no, I was... it was because we got in a debate in the car one night about... Because, the bottoms and the tops, and one dude... said he would never take a penis. He's gay. Never take a penis. Wouldn't let anybody finger him. And I was like, bro, you've never had your prostate milked. Like, I was the straight dude, mostly straight, I guess. But I'm the straight dude telling this dude, no, you got to take a finger up the ass. You got to get your prostate milked. It's beautiful.
Nah, dude, I'd never let that happen.
Dude, you say that. All I'm saying is this: if it were someone to ever like lube up and slip it in and do it, you would be like, oh my god, like
that's what people say. But
you'd be like, call me gay. There's just something.
I almost, my wife was like joking and like put her like hand near my ass and like. I almost broke her wrist.
Bro,
like,
I was like that for years.
Like I got those quick reflexes to defend my booty hole. That's not like I don't play around. It was
actually my third wife actually allowed her to, and I was like, oh my god, I've been missing out all these years. Holy shit.
Jeez. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like don't be dirtier than the opener. Where do we go from here?
Don't be dirtier than the opener.
Yeah, we just shot our load.
Yeah, well, we were talking about like Colin having him on shows.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice buffer because sometimes my shit for an audience that's not used to me is way too out there, and Colin makes me look like fucking G-rated sometimes.
Well, that's we did what was that show About Time with Buck saying?
Yeah, like the charity show. Yeah, that was awesome. I
was like, dude, that was a fun show. But like, I wasn't even worried a little bit because I was like, Colin's following me. So, like, if they don't, like, if they think I'm an asshole, they're not. I can't remember where I was.
I think you were both after me, but I had that in. Where I know we're all three towards the end, but I had it in my head like, okay, fuck, Colin's got my back. I love that motherfucker too. He is so fucking hilarious, man.
Colin is a great dude.
Yeah,
like he's a. Like, there's a very few, like, genuine people in comedy because, like...
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of people who are, like, doing it for the wrong reasons. Lots of people who have, like, personality crisis, and that's why they're doing comedy.
Or there's a lot of people that their comedy personality is not the real person.
Yeah.
And, like, Colin come across as abrasive and racist and all that good shit, but the actual core personality is Colin.
Well, and the thing is, like...
He's just a genuine
and all the stuff where anyone could be like, he's racist, like, he's always going for a joke.
Yeah, no.
Like, he doesn't have, like, bad intent in him at all.
Anybody... The only people that think Colin is really racist is white people. I mean, that's always the motherfuckers calling him. It's the same bitch. I got a bit that I do, and there's some Spanish words in it, and one of them. I won't go through the thing, but it's like Los Gallos Negros Grande, and it means big black roosters, but it can be translated to big black cocks, and I don't even do the. But I got white boys in the feed all the time talking about he said the N word twice in Spanish. It's like, bitch, learn Spanish because that is not the N word. I would have said mayate if I was trying to say the N word in Spanish. You stupid fuck.
Yeah, that's not the N word. I didn't even know there is one in Spanish.
That mayate is weird. It's I don't speak a lot of Spanish, but my dad did. But it's a slur that like they use it mostly for black people, but sometimes they use it for homosexuals, I guess. Okay. I didn't know that shit because that was always Joto to me.
Joto, yeah. So like I said, I was in Guatemala. And so my favorite thing in Guatemala, I learned how to say fag in every single country because every country has its own word.
Yeah.
So in Guatemala, it's hueco. In Mexico, it's joto.
Yeah.
In El Salvador, it's pipián. Oh man, why did I forget the one in Nicaragua? I knew them, like every Spanish country, I knew how to call someone a fag.
How different are the different countries? Like, we like, I did a thing where we're translating recovery literature. And man, some Cubans translated some shit.
Oh, dude, if you're
yeah, and there was motherfuckers in South America that was like, yo, we get the gist of this, even with some of the Mexicans, but we get the gist of this, but there's certain words we don't even know what the fuck they mean.
Yeah. Now, if you especially get those like Caribbean countries like the Dominican or like Cuba, it
gets really different.
Yeah, dude, it's like if you go from like Mexico to Guatemala, it's like something pretty similar.
It's weird because even like the Castilian Spanish and the Mexican Spanish, supposedly they can understand each other and communicate, but that shit, to me, when I hear people speaking Castilian, it almost sounds Germanic, like motherfuckers from Spain. I'm like, that don't even sound like a Latino type language.
Yeah, it's definitely like, as someone who like speaks it as a second language, it's pretty hard for me. Like, if I'm hearing someone who's not from like Central America, I have to like pay extra attention while I'm listening to them. But like, if I'm listening to someone from Guatemala, I'm like, oh, this is as easy as like English for me almost. But like, if it's someone from like, I don't know, Argentina, have you heard them?
I got a buddy from Argentina.
They speak pretty wild.
I thought this cat was like mentally deranged because he didn't have an accent, but he didn't. I didn't know English wasn't his first language, so he spoke with a weird cadence. He was like, "Hey, dude, bro, what's up, man?" It was so fucking awkward.
Thought he was retarded.
Yeah. I thought, man, something ain't right in this motherfucker's head. Then I found out that the English was his second language. I was like, oh, he trying to do slang and shit, and he speaks it.
No, he's not retarded. He's just an immigrant.
He was actually really fucking smart. Shout out Marcus Uboldi. I think he's a therapist now, but. Yeah, he's a cool cat.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, last night I followed you at Wise Guys.
What's that?
I followed you last night at Wise Guys.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I have not felt comfortable on stage for a few months, and last night I felt really good. So
it's weird that Wise Guys stage, that big room. That's where I always feel the most comfortable, and that used to be my worst. That's the stage where I had my worst bomb of all time. And
really?
It took me forever. Like, I would intentionally get on the Wednesday mic whenever I could to overcome the fucking fear of that stage. Because it was...
Dude, I'm still, like, standby listing it every week, trying to get on.
Do you put in the emails, if you just politely say the last time you were on the list?
Yeah, I tell them. So, like, I get on the list, like, once a month.
That's about the amount. That's about how often they'll get you on. But once...
Yeah, I'm waiting to get to the point where I'm
the regular.
That's what I'm working for. I'm spending a lot of time there. I'm on the weekends. I'm hanging out there.
It took forever, and once I started thinking like every time they put me on 2 or 3 times in a row, and I started thinking, oh yeah, this is it, and then I wouldn't get on for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'd be like, oh, I'm just like waiting for the next. I think it was when I started. Keith and I started running into the owner, for people who don't know, of Wise Guys, running into each other at this convenience store we went to every morning. And,
okay.
And then once in a while, if he'd say, you're coming to Wednesday, I'd be like, I'd have to choose between Tuesday and Wednesday at the time. And I'd be like, I don't know which one I'm doing because I haven't. He'd be like, I'll make sure you get on the list. And he started, and then I think, because he's not the one who does the list, but every time he would put me on, the next week the next week I'd get rejected, and so one time I just ate the rejection without having Keith step in, and after that it's been every time. I was like, I think she was just testing me to like, okay, when are you not going to go over my head or whatever, which wasn't what I was trying to do. It's just Keith that offers, and it's like, hell yeah, I want to do Wednesday. That's the shit.
Dude, the Wednesday mic is the shit.
That's incredible. I mean,
it's the best way to test your jokes, to know like what's working, what's not working.
It's a real honest. Last night the audience seemed a little bit easy, but at the same time, if you got a stinker, it's still just adjust. If you get chuckles on a joke that should be killing with an audience like that, then you know something's off with the delivery. I felt like a killer last night. Last night was. I did until I fucked up in because the whole reason I was doing that bit is I don't have it committed to memory. I want to do it on the Sunday show this week. And I fucked up because I riffed for a full minute at the beginning. I was trying to rush and I lost my fucking spot. When I had to go back to those notes, it killed my momentum. So like there was a part that usually kills, and it got like real moderate laugh. I finally managed to get a laugh by the end, and I was like, and I knew I was gonna have to cut the bit short because I riffed too much.
That's the worst.
I don't mind when it's the week leading up to a Sunday special, because if I have to quit in the middle of the bit, I just hold up the tickets and be like, you want to hear the rest of this joke? Come Sunday. You just promo the shit with it. But yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, dude, how long have you been doing stand-up now?
It's kind of weird. I started, I did 2 mics at the end of 2018, and then, or 2019. And then January 1st, 2020 was the bomb I was talking. I didn't know I bombed my first 2 mics because I was getting them courtesy laughs.
Yeah. And did you say it was your first time?
The very first time I went up, I didn't, because here's in my delusional mind, bro. I was gonna go up and fucking murder, man.
Dude, everyone thinks.
And I wasn't gonna take and they were gonna be like, dude, you're so good, where you been? And I'd be like, this is my first time, bitches. And that's the opposite of how it went. I went up 30, and I wasn't gonna use notes because, god damn it, I'm the man. Dude. And I had to go back to my table 30 seconds in to get the notes. It was fucking, and I still thought I did well, but my third mic, I was just going to scope out a Wednesday, and they were like, hey, get on a standby list. It's free. I already paid online, but I was like, it was this stupid street pride. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going up. So I put my name on the standby. Roddy Norman was running it, and he just mixed the standby in like they did last night. They very rarely do that. And all of a sudden I'm going up earlier than I thought. I thought maybe I don't get on at all. And I, instead of doing the shit I'd been doing, took up new material that wasn't worked out yet with the notes that I was just kind of riffing. And it was some shit about white people inventing people of color. Because I'm around in the 90s. That shit didn't fly the first time they tried it. Motherfucker was like,
well, I remember
why are you calling us colored people, motherfucker?
Well, it first tried to be like African American.
Yeah.
Like, don't say black.
Yeah, it's like, white people, I was homeless for 4.5 years. The most insulting thing anybody ever called me was unhoused. And I'm going, you know, again, this ain't gay people. I'm just going, I know some white liberal faggot in San Francisco made up that fucking term because he think he need to say,
save
no,
the world.
Motherfucker, I'm homeless. What? Unhoused. What the fuck is that?
Quinn Johnson had a great bit about that. He's like, it's actually unhoused. He's like, it's not homeless anymore. He's like, so I went up to a homeless person and I was like, hey, good news. You're not homeless anymore.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's fucking good. I like that. But yeah, I just did this shit. But yeah, I did this bullshit up there. And I'm not thinking like, okay, they ain't seen my family portrait and everything is in there. They just looking at this bald-headed, white, skinhead-looking motherfucker, and I'm up there sounding like an absolute racist with some shit that's not dude. It was that no groans, just fucking silence, man. There might have been a couple chuckles that I don't remember, but it was fucking silence, and I knew, and it was so bad, like it was one of those bombs that's so bad that other comics. It was too cringe for them to look you in the eye after. No. Rodney Norman didn't even make eye contact, and he'll usually roast your ass after you. He didn't even make, and I'm sure he doesn't remember that. It was my third time ever on stage. So then I sometimes I couldn't afford to go because I was like doing the fucking DoorDash and shit, living in the car.
Damn, dude, I don't think I've bombed that hard.
Yeah, I did. It's the worst I've bombed.
I've bombed pretty hard.
Yeah, it's good to get out the way early, but then I went a few months sometimes because I couldn't go and let me write something down, like work a bit real solid, and by the time I was ready to go back, fucking COVID hit, and then Wise Guys opened a month later. I didn't know it. I sat out for 18 months because I'm listening to National Comics on a podcast talking about everything shut down. I sat out for 18 fucking months after that bomb. It was fucking horrible. So I didn't come back till like, oh, this was a simple question. How long you been doing this? I didn't come back till like June of, 2021, whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
It was fucked up. So
I don't know. That's like 2 months before I moved here.
That's how long I've been doing comedy. It's long, but not long.
Yeah. Nah, dude, that's a rough bomb though.
It was fun. Yeah. I'm real glad I had the experience now because nothing. That's about as bad as you can bomb, other than if I was to do that for like 30 minutes. But
I had probably my worst bomb ever was like my 4th time ever doing stand up.
Yeah, that was my third.
It was at the Wednesday open mic at the local club up in Washington, and this time my dad came and brought a buddy of his.
Yeah.
And so like one of his good friends came with him too, and like we're gonna watch my son do comedy, and like my second. So my first time ever on stage wasn't that great. My second time ever, I got a pretty decent amount of laughs. So I was like, oh shit, I'm pretty good. Yeah. And so I told my dad, I showed him the video too, and he was like, oh, that's not bad. And so I was like, I'm the shit. Like I thought I was so good.
That's where I was after the second time, thinking I was the man.
I'm gonna come in, and I was like, my dad's coming, and I'm just gonna kill in front of him. Like it's gonna be the coolest thing ever. And I bombed so hard. And they do 4 minutes at this club instead of 3 minutes. And so the whole 4 minutes, I'm just drowning the whole time. And then I get off stage to like no one barely even applauded.
Yeah, that was mine.
And then I got to sit down next to my dad and be like, "What's up?" And then sit through the rest of the open mic.
Oh, that was the hardest thing for me, was watching everybody else and just so fucking embarrassed, man. But yeah, that was on that big stage at Wise Guys. It was the first time I was on. That's why that fucking terrified me, that stage, for so long, because it was like, even if I did well that night, there was still that negative association with it.
Yeah. For the longest time, I only did open mics at the comedy club up in Washington.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of going to, like, a bar or anything, like, to practice, like, was bizarre to me until, like, I really got in the mindset that I wanted to get good at this. And then, like, then you have to go to every mic you can and just work your ass off and try to build your act. Like, you can't get good just going once a week.
No, you can't.
And so... But, like, the first 6 months I did stand-up, I only went, like, once a week.
I think maybe when I came back because at first you don't even know there's anything but Wise Guys.
Yeah.
It might have been a month or two. I don't know if it was 2 months, and it was, I just kind of forced myself, because I knew it would be a different experience. I knew these bar mics were going to be, like, just comics.
Dude, they're rough.
Or maybe 4 people, and, yeah, that was, but that I remember hearing Bill Burr talk about it took him 30 or 40 times to not be terrified going on stage or something like that. And I thought it won't take it, because I never had stage fright before comedy, and I'd done a lot of on stage shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it won't take that long for me. And it was, I think, my 39th time before I actually felt comfortable at all on the fucking stage doing comedy.
Jeez. Yeah, that's, do you keep track of how many times you go up?
Not anymore, but I used to. And I used to fucking grade each one. Like, okay,
really?
This one was better than this one. And I finally got, we were doing like open mics every night. It got to a point where it was like, fuck, I can't keep track.
I'm trying to just get on stage as much as possible, so I keep track. I write the venue and how many minutes I did and the date. So I, like, know how many times I went on stage for the whole year.
One thing I do track when I'm doing a lot of open mics is, I guess I could count it when I'm writing everything, but I'll write down the bits that I do at each open mic, because the idea is, you want to practice bits over and over, but if it's the same audience every week, you don't know how well you're tweaking this if you can't gauge an audience response. Yeah. So I would try and switch up. Back when Athena's was open, like if I did this bit at Athena's, I can do it again at Cafe on First, shit like that. And I would just rotate shit around so that I wasn't doing the same shit for the same audiences, but still being able to practice everything. But so I'm going to start hitting a lot right now, but moving from my car into a place and wrecking my vehicle and all that shit, I've been doing just like the Wise Guys mics for a couple months now, so I need to, other than Cafe on First once in a while.
Yeah, well, they've cut down a lot of mics, like Athena's is gone.
Athena's, they're at the Alliance Theater now.
Yeah, I just got the text this week.
Yeah.
And then there was Improv Broadway here in Provo, which you never went to, but...
I was about to come to that just because I wanted to see the looks on motherfuckers' faces when I came in and worked that degree of clean, and then it went away.
I don't think you could do it. I've never seen you.
I do work clean when I have to, but... I know that's next level clean. But I have bits that some of my bits people don't know they're not dirty because of who I am and because I say motherfucker a lot when I talk.
Yeah.
But it's not, if I just cut out the way I normally talk and be conscious of not using, I guess, filler words, but it's not really for the stage. It's just how I talk when I'm talking to people.
That's the thing. All of my material is technically clean. Like, I don't really...
You're right. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows that. But, like, I sometimes swear on stage, but, like, if I take out all the swear words...
this one,
I can, like, because I don't make sex jokes. And so, but, like, here's the thing, like, is a school shooting joke clean? It's probably
no, it's not. But so, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but like, I don't swear and I don't make sex jokes, and I feel like in Utah at least that's kind of the standard for clean.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird too because people like even in comedy in general when they say PG-13. That's the first time I heard PG-13. I was like, oh, so I can say fuck one time and just don't talk about sex and maybe titties.
Say shit.
And they're like, no, you can't say fuck at all. I'm like, that's not PG-13. That's
you're allowed one.
Yes, exactly. PG-13 movies.
You can actually show your dick for 2 seconds.
One titty shot. Really and it's like, so yeah, I can talk about titties once and say fuck once. No, I don't think I have titty jokes, but I should. I'm not above that.
All right, well, let's get into the Let's Get Fired part the Let's Get Fired podcast.
Let's get fired, bitches.
Dude, so have you ever been fired from a job before?
Technically, not the fired, but I was one time. They lied to you guys. I was, it was cool. The job title was stripper, but it's because I was stripping furniture for reupholstery. And the motherfucker I worked with, man, he was one of these overzealous motherfuckers that work too fast.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, bitch, you fucking us up. You need to slow down. Like, it was a quote unquote temp job, but one day I was moving a finished couch for him, and I accidentally hit the back of one of the other couches they just finished, and it tore a big hole in the fabric.
Oh, jeez.
And I got laid off the next day, and I was like, bro, you can just tell me because I fucked that couch up. He's like, no, we actually laid off Johnny too. And then Johnny called me drunk like a week later because he was too drunk to drive and needed a ride. And I was drunk too, but I drove him anyway. But, yeah, then he's like, no, bro, they didn't fire me. They gave me like a raise and shit. I was like, so
they gave me your salary,
yeah,
bitch.
pretty much. He did twice the work as I did anyway, so he probably deserved it. But yeah, it was fucking.
So you got fired doing upholstery.
I got fired doing upholstery, but yeah, I've always been laid off. But who knows if I probably had some fuck ups. That's why they were. Yeah, fucking fired.
So what's the worst job you've ever worked?
Jesus Christ, that probably retention for AOL.
Retention for AOL?
Yeah, I was that motherfucker back in the day. Most of y'all probably be too young.
All I know about AOL is that their chat rooms were filled with pedophiles.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
So yeah, that was back when you had to dial in your phone, and they would send out these discs in the mail for a free AOL trial, and then you'd call in to cancel that shit before your free trial ran out, and the motherfucker on the phone would try and talk you into staying.
Oh, so that's what you did.
I was that. Yeah, I had to sell.
Did you still talk the same way?
I had to sell. I did really well with black women, but once they moved me to day, hey, this is just how it is. Black women call in at night, and when they moved me to day shift, my fucking sales tanked because it was like upper middle class white businessmen and shit. And it was like, fuck it, they didn't want to hear my bullshit. And they were racist. That's what it was. But no, but the whole job was fucked up.
That's the first time I've ever heard a white dude. It's like, it was racist motherfuckers.
These motherfuckers, you're trying to sell somebody some shit they already don't want. You're trying to sell it back to them. But it was also a thing where if you hadn't done it too much, they just throw you a free month.
Okay.
And so, like, it became a thing where people knew if you get free AOL, you just call to cancel, they'll throw you a free month on there. But then that shit would run out. That was one of the jobs I dreaded going. I've had a few like that, but I've done so many jobs. But even the physical labor jobs weren't as bad as that. I hated that.
Yeah, a lot of places still like do that strategy at least, because like I just tried to cancel my HBO Max.
Yeah.
And they were like, "How about half price for 3 months?" Where I was like, "Deal."
Yeah.
So.
Hell yeah, Actually, I mean, you learn about this shit. If I am having a problem with a company, I immediately tell them I want to quit, transfer to your retention department. Or whatever the fuck you call to save our customer department, whatever the fuck it is, because a lot of them don't call it retention anymore. Transfer, because those motherfuckers will have more authority to offer you free shit and price reductions and shit. So.
That sounds like a shitty job, though. I remember I worked for Comcast. Yeah. I did technical support for Comcast, and the retention department was right next to my cubicle. And those dudes look so sad every day.
It's like a miserable fucking existence, man. It's like you just getting shit on all. The only people who did really well there and liked it were complete fucking narcissists who had. And here's the other fucked up thing about AOL, and I'll just say it because fuck them. But they'd tell you all this shit in training. Like you weren't allowed to say shit on the phone that wasn't true. And they tell you all this cool shit in training. I was like, I didn't know how fucking cool AOL was. I didn't know we had all this cool. And then you'd be on the floor telling some people some shit, and some soup would walk up behind you. Hey, who told you to say that? Motherfucker, you guys did. No, we didn't. We don't have that. It's like, bitch. Like, they would lie to us about what they had. It was just, AOL was a fucked up company overall.
Does AOL even still exist?
I don't know, because they shut down a lot of their call centers. Well, they bought, like, HBO and Cinemax. And,
oh, really?
They bought Time Warner. It was so funny because they renamed it AOL Time Warner and the stock tanked. So they took the AOL name off of Time Warner and the stock came back up. So I don't know if they still exist as the parent company or they've changed their name, but
okay, but their spirit's still there.
Yeah, that's another thing I hate about them motherfuckers because they one of the things they build themselves as is family friendly and we got the best parental controls, and it's like. Do the people calling in know that you're the same motherfuckers showing their kids Skinamax at night? Like, why they need the parental controls in the first place? Because you own that company, bitch.
Yeah, dude. All these companies are super shady, and they all, like, they all own like companies that like are subsidiaries and working in each other's like against each other's interests.
Yeah, it's fucking.
When I worked for Comcast, I found out I didn't know Comcast owns Universal.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And so like Comcast owns Universal, and like so if you like get the streaming service like Peacock and NBC and Universal, that's all owned by Comcast.
Yeah.
That was a sweet part of the job, though. I'd get free tickets every year to Universal Studios in Hollywood.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've been there since I was a kid.
Yeah, we went there twice. But, yeah, that job sucked. So what's your favorite job you've ever worked?
Jesus Christ, does comedy count? We get paid for that technically.
I mean, do we?
Yeah, I was just say I didn't even make I never even made enough on it when I was living in my car to not have to DoorDash though. So.
Yeah, I mean the most I made was definitely last year. And I think last year I made maybe $1,200 from comedy. So nothing.
I'm not trying to I made like $5,500 last year, and that was insane. It was like
really.
It'll be years before I do that again.
No, it won't.
I think I've made like
why not?
$1,100.
I do feel like this year I'm like not on pace.
I had a lot of regular gigs last year that got shut down.
Yeah,
like the bars aren't even there anymore.
Yeah, this year has been rough. I haven't had a lot of bookings, but I'm like the year's still short. Like
yeah, that's true.
We're still early.
Well, like the bar shows actually pick up in the summertime, but they don't usually pay great either.
No, that's like $50.
Yeah, $50 if you get to be. Some of the ones like shout out Marcus Whistler, the and a Bag of Chips bearded boombox shit. Some of the ones like you out of state with them, like Evanston, man. I'm almost mad at that motherfucker didn't take me on the last Evanston trip. But no, I went to Evanston and they tipped the fucking. They throw shit in that tip jar.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think the base was $50 and I walked away with like $100 just because. And they put us up in free hotel rooms, free meals.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, last year I did get a hotel in Washington, and like they have a comedy club inside the hotel, and so I featured. So I got $100 to feature and a free hotel room.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, the Evanston thing was crazy because the hotel staff treated you like you were fucking rock stars because you just comedians on the road, but they thought you were some sort of shit. It's like, bitch, people barely know my name where I'm from.
They have no idea.
Yeah, but it felt good though.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. I mean, I think you were doing a bit about like getting recognized once, but then you got recognized for being a
that was some true shit. I was door dashing in Lehigh, the nice part, and these 3 teenage girls came running down the street talking about, "Can we take a picture with you?" And I was like, I'm thinking, Jesus, this is like not only the wrong neighborhood, because I do get recognized in shitty neighborhoods a lot, but like this is not only the wrong neighborhood, this is age inappropriate. Where these bitches seeing my show, and they were literally on a scavenger hunt with a church group, and they needed a picture with a total stranger, and it was like, oh fuck this. Like my ego went from to oh yeah, I'm just a fucking.
My ego got so high when I first started doing open mics.
Yeah, me too.
Like there was this dude who like ran like a bi-monthly like showcase, and it was at a piano bar, and it was like a pretty nice room, and I didn't get paid to do it, but like it looked like a legit like club. Yeah. And sometimes he'd pack it up, and so this was like I was 6 months in, and I was like doing his shows like once a month, and that's once a month where I can do 15 minutes, and that was like so beneficial when I was starting out. But like people, sometimes he packed the place, so like people. I remember, like, when Amanda and I first started dating, there were, like, Amanda didn't know how, like, low of an open micer I was. Mm-hmm. Like, she just knew that this guy she's dating is doing comedy. But, like, I'd take Amanda out for ice cream, and I remember one time this dude, like, recognized me. He's like, dude, you were so funny. And he's like, your autistic jokes are so funny. And then he had his autistic son right there with the ice cream. He's like, this is my son, he has autism. I thought your jokes were so funny. And I remember like Amanda was like, oh, this is cool, like Drew's getting recognized.
Yeah, on a date that's cool, because the first time you get recognized is the best like anyway.
Dude, I was like, dude, I'm a fucking baller. Like,
yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I don't count my very first time because I was literally standing out in front of City Limits Tavern next to a poster that had my face on it. And this dude walks by, you're the guy on the poster. And but I was at a Maverick convenience store one day, and this dude in the car next to me rolls down. Aren't you that comedian that does Wise Guys? And it was in Utah County. Like, it was technically just over the border.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. You just don't forget that first time somebody recognizes you.
The first time for me was at a Jimmy John's, and the dude who was working at Jimmy John's, he was like, hey, I saw you at the comedy club. You were good. And I was like,
it even feels weird
dude,
for me to talk about the first time I got recognized because, like, bitch, nobody still knows who you are.
No, dude, nobody.
When
knows.
I was doing music, more people knew who I was.
Nobody knows who any of us are.
Yeah, you got the regulars at Wise Guys that get to know your name or whatever bar you're doing. But
Yeah.
you were talking about that 15 minutes you got to do. That was, I got shot EK because he started putting me on the Provo Uncensored shows, and it was like that 15 minutes every month was so huge, like, for me. It was an ego thing, but just to be able to run 15 minutes at a time instead of 3 or 5 minutes here.
I did that show once, and it was pretty rough. I mean, I had a good set, but the crowd was talking the whole time. So I was supposed to do 20 minutes, I think, or 15.
I thought you did your full time. I was there.
You were there. Okay. Well, I did my full time, but I only did half my material because I was busy talking to the crowd and trying to get
come
the
at
show.
that one motherfucker. We should have prepped you for that. None of us thought, because that bar is some different type of shit. Like,
well, and the thing is, like, if you're gonna hang out in the back and play pool and talk, whatever, like, I don't care. Like, you didn't know there was gonna be a comedy show, but the people who come and sit right in front of the stage to watch the show and they won't stop talking to their friends, then go to the fucking back of the bar.
Yeah, EK after that actually started pulling people aside when they were doing that, but that was the thing it was good for me to be new dealing with that, but they're actually fucking listening. That would blow my mind about that bar before they closed. It was like, even the motherfuckers in the back playing pool, or you got the people sitting at the bar, which is in the back and facing the wrong way, and you think none of them are listening. When motherfuckers would come up from the pool table and drop money in a tip bucket, it was like, oh, this is like them listening to the radio. They're being entertained, but they're doing other shit. They're just listening to us. It was some wild shit, but I wish I did that show more because I lose my shit. Not like I don't go off on people, but I lose my rhythm real easy at bar shows now if I don't have them engaged because I don't have that regular.
Yeah, if they're not engaged, I usually don't start. Like, I do everything I can to get them engaged. Yeah. Like, so I remember I did one of Buck's shows in West Valley at Wingnuts.
And the Wingnuts shows were actually good, though.
Dude, he packed those places. They were filled up. Yeah, the problem was the lighting sucked. And this was the first Wingnuts show he ever put on.
Okay.
So this was like, I think he was still like testing the waters, and like 4 comics went on before me, and they all bombed. I'm not gonna name names, but like they all bombed.
I will. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know who the fuck they were.
If I told you the names, you'd be like, "That checks out."
Yeah, I don't shit talk other comics. Like, you know what I mean? I really don't. I think it's some fucked up shit. Like you never, like how you're not telling, you wouldn't. I don't think you would tell me those names off the air. But if you did, it wouldn't be like shit talking them because it's just motherfuckers who ain't good shit talk.
And one of them isn't bad. One of the dudes who bombed, but he just didn't have the confidence to try to like get the crowd under control. Because what happened is the first like 2 rows of people are like paying attention. Then you get in the back, and it was like tables. I'm not gonna like tables of all women just talking in the back, and I was like, no one like told them to shut up. And so, like, I start my set aggressively going after the back of the room. I was like, you guys paid money to come in here to watch a comedy show, and you're not watching it. And then they keep talking, and I was like, hey, shut the fuck up. And I just went after them so hard that, like, I could see Buck getting, like, nervous. Because, like, I was being... But I pulled them back, and I had a pretty good set. But, like, I would have ate a bag of dicks if I didn't address that they weren't paying attention.
Right. I don't know if this... I saw some crazy... And I used it. I was on that Bar Named Sue show one time. And it might as well have been an open mic because as comics came in, they just started putting people on the showcase that wanted to be on. It was like, well, yeah, but it was... Bar Named Sue, if you ever done that, the one down on State, it's not set up for comedy. Like, and most of them don't know there's going to be a comedy show there that night. And, like, the first table is so far back from the stage, and there's only a couple tables that are situated to even be looking at you. And they're all talking. It's loud. And I see EK walk in the back of the room before the show, like listening to shit, like listening to the speakers. I'm like, what the fuck? He goes up, man, and they're like, people would either talk to the couple tables that were listening, or they'd try and shout down the crowd. Nobody did what you did, and that probably would have worked too. But but they'd try and talk over the crowd or get real loud. And EK went up there, and he stood there for like 15 seconds and smiled, like just this shit-eating grin. It was in silence, and all of a sudden the room went dead silent. And he had him the whole fucking time.
Oh,
and
really?
I was like up 2 after him. I did the same shit, but it only took about 7 or 8 seconds. And I was like, oh, this is a neat little trick. When they talk and just sit there for a minute, and they're like, why this motherfucker sitting there? It was cool. I don't know that means anything. It was just, it reminded me.
That is a cool trick.
Let's get fired. Fuck, we supposed to be talking mad shit.
And talk about your job.
We talking about tame comedy shit, and we should be.
Yeah, but I have an idea that I want to throw out there, though. Something that does make me cringe is like at an open mic, if you're at like a bar or something, and like the people at the bar didn't know there was going to be comedy. I don't blame them at all.
Oh, no, for real.
And I've seen comedians go after people at the bar and be like, hey, shut the fuck up. And that makes me cringe every time.
I used to hate following Dario. I love you, Dario, but I used to hate following Dario at the Ice House when it was open. And this ain't the Ice House in LA. This was a shitty bar in Utah that's still there, but they don't hold comedy there anymore, so fuck them. But Dario does the crowd work, and he shits on people. And I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna walk half this crowd or have them hostile because they don't know there's gonna be comedy there, and he's shitting on the people. And I'm like, motherfucker, just let me go up before Dario.
Yeah, crowd work is rough for no.
Dario is so good at crowd work too, but I was like, he's just gonna piss these people off because they don't even know they're here. Sometimes you get them, but it's like, oh shit, no, he's gonna have them hostile before I even get on stage.
We've just been talking about comedy though. What's your best job?
My best job?
Yeah.
See, that's I've had some I've liked. Oh yeah, we're talking about. I said, does comedy count? If comedy counts, it's definitely comedy. But until I can support myself exclusively with that, then I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
I was a lifeguard for a summer at Raging Waters. It paid shit, but that was fucking fun. Did we just kill something on the computer?
Nah, dude. ESPN just wanted to give me a notice, and I don't have my notifications.
Like we ran out of a battery or some shit. Yeah, that was cool. I played poker for a little while, real low level, but it got me by. That was, but you quit loving shit like that when you have to do it.
Yeah.
It was. I just didn't love it like when I was supplementing my income in like illegal games here, but when I moved to Nevada and started doing it exclusively, there was a suck factor to it. Fuck. Dude, I've had so many fucking jobs. I'm 50 years old and I've never had a career. Probably some of the shit I've done, believe it or not, because it's obvious I was probably in trouble as a juvenile. But the worst thing I've had as an adult is an investigation for aggravated assault, and there was no conviction or court case. It just, I mean, I did this shit. The statute of limitations is up, so fuck it. But so I don't have anything on my record. So I've worked a lot of jobs with like youth corrections. Now it's called juvenile justice or private subcontractors. And those jobs are cool, but you burn out on them too. They're very demanding.
Yeah.
So it'd be tough to pick. If I had to pick just a favorite, probably when I was a teenager working at Raging Waters, you know. Sometimes a girl come down the slide and titties would pop out. That was nice.
Dude, that's a bummer. That's been just all downhill from there.
Oh shit, that's life, man. It's just I've had most of the jobs I've had, I've not minded. It's like, I don't know. Not working is always better than working. Unless it's comedy. Like, when you do a comedy, you getting paid to do some shit you would do for free.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Like,
that's the thing. You don't have to pay me to go to an open mic. And then if I get to do a show in front of, like, an actual audience and I get paid to do it.
Yeah, there's certain... it's weird because you know you would do shit for free, but you got to still value yourself. And it's like...
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the charity shows for free for sure. There's certain exceptions, but most of the time it's like, no, I gotta get paid.
Yeah.
Paid a certain amount. But even then, I'm so low level. Like a $50 show is nice. I think the most I've ever made in one show was like $300. What's
the worst thing you've ever done on the clock? Like
I heard you ask this.
I ask everyone this.
Everybody's jerked off on the clock. I've done that. I've had sex in the office. This hasn't been since before I got clean. I've been clean since I was 24 years old. I'm almost 51. But, man, I fucking used to steal crazy shit. Everybody, so check it. There was this, when I was working for, I'll just say it, fuck it. I was working for Genesis. It was this youth program at the Point of the Mountain. It used to be, first it was the women's facility, like an actual prison. Then it was the firefighters, the flamingos, the dudes that they sent out to fight forest fires. Eventually they turned it into a work camp where they put motherfuckers in there and take them out in the community on work projects and shit. It was either front end kids or back end kids coming out of secure care. And there was a closet, like a lot of us was ex gang members and shit like that. So they'd have like the fucking Bob Barker jackets and shit. And like my first time taking kids on a work crew, I wasn't wearing their same shit, but I was dressed so similar. It was at Tracy Aviary in Salt Lake, and when this bitch walks up and starts telling me, like, cleaning up the bird shit over here, and I was like, the fucking staff got to do this too? She said, oh, shit, I thought you was one of the kids. Because I was, like, probably 21 years old and looking like these motherfuckers. But, yeah, there was the supply closet with all the clothes. The dude had the key, and he would let us in there at night, and we would just clean that motherfucker out and steal all the shit. And then when they took the key away from him, because they figured out what was going on, we just figured out how to jimmy that lock. Like the jackets, the fucking... They was Bob Barker pants, but they was Dickie type pants. Like Dickies was the brand, but yeah, they had imitation Chuck Taylor shoes. The same thing. I think they were Bob Barkers, but they looked like the old canvas Chuck Taylors. We robbed the fuck out that place, man. So that's probably the worst thing I done is stealing from work. Even though you always put on them questionnaires, you never stole from work. But when I was before I got clean, but yeah, now I don't shit where I eat. But yeah, I have had sex in the office. I was doing real estate for a while. I fucked in the office. They probably had cameras and I didn't know it, but especially with all them computers in there. But
dude, that's wild. You getting confused though for like one of the kids?
Oh,
dude, I had it's kind of similar but different. So like a month ago, I was like having heart pains. And I was like, what's going on with me? And right now I don't have health insurance. Yeah. So I went to the free volunteer clinic.
Yeah, you thought
like
that. They thought they was like, where's the patient?
Dude, I get in there and I'm the only white dude. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing this. So then they bring me back into the exam room and then I'm waiting for the doctor to come in. The doctor comes in, looks at me. And is like, oh, do you have a patient with you? And I was like, dude, I am the patient. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You look like a volunteer.
That's what he said. Spoke to him in Spanish and told him he was only half white or something, man.
Dude, he was like, you look like a volunteer. Is like the most funny racist thing I've ever heard.
Yo, when I was working for Genesis, we used to use it to our advantage because, I'm probably still in the gang file. I don't think they ever, but I was in the gang file as a kid. But you can get enhanced on certain shit if you have a gang affiliation. And one of the questions when you ask the kids when they come in is, what's your affiliation? And of course they always lie and say I'm not a gang member. So they'd leave them sitting in the day room after that questionnaire, and they'd have me walk in because I was close. I mean, I wasn't much older than these motherfuckers. So they'd have me walk in, and I just walk in. Hey, cuz, where you from? And they'd spit their hood at me and be like, I work here, thanks. Put their fucking. It was kind of fucked up. Now I feel bad about it.
You just get through.
Yeah. Well, it's Serenios 13. Fuck you, SA. Nah, man, I'm a staff member. We just knew you was lying, bitch.
Dude, that's funny. So, wait. So you were in a gang. Have you ever robbed anyone?
Oh, yeah.
How many times?
I don't know. You mean like what? I don't know, mugging or like?
Dude, all of it. Like.
Yeah, but not for no. You'd usually just be taking shit from white boys just because you could. Yeah, like. But yeah, I stolen a bunch of shit from like broken into buildings and shit. There's nothing.
But like muggings, you've
just like taking shit, not like big real time. It's weird too. Being a drug addict, you would think I would have like stolen shit from people. But nah, just
dude, that's wild.
Yeah, sometimes it'd just be as simple as a motherfucker was a skater, but he was wearing the wrong color rag. And so it's like, give me that rag, bitch, type of shit. And it was more just when somebody was in the wrong neighborhood and you wanted to fuck with them, so you got to take something from them just because you thought it was funny.
Wait, you were born here, right? In Utah?
Yeah, you from out of state.
I'm from out of state. I have no idea.
Utah be selling.
No,
yeah, it's like I grew up in West Nile. They call it Rose Park in Glendale. When I was real young, we just called it West Side.
Okay.
I grew up in West Nile, Glendale, but we didn't. But then when there was always gangs there. Like my grandfather was in a gang, but before that shit was even before Rose Park even had that name, but there was always gangs there, but when shit started getting like the red and the blue, Rose Park went mostly red and Glendale went mostly blue. And so then it became Rose Park and Glendale. And it was like West Valley. There's Utah's got...
I knew there was some stuff because I don't know if you remember, Spike TV had a show back in the day called Gangland.
Yeah. And
they did a segment on Utah.
Yeah, the people are always shocked by that because Utah sell this milquetoast image. It's weird because I used to, when I was doing the home games and shit, I was the state director for the Poker Players Alliance. And anytime anything like parimutuel betting, like racetracks came up to legalize here, or even the lottery, the church would obviously be against it, but motherfuckers would publish articles in the Deseret News, like op-ed pieces, like, do you really want to have the same crime rate as Las Vegas? And I would always write in as the director of the Poker Players Alliance and point out that at that point in time, I don't know what it looks like now, but Salt Lake and Las Vegas have had identical crime rates for the last 20 years. Are you going to apply that same logic to Mormonism? Like, well, the Mormon hating thing, but it's like we're known for Mormonism, they're more known for gambling. We got the same crime rate. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But they would never publish it. It was like people have this idea. Like, there's been a lot of times people come in from other states and say the wrong shit in the wrong neighborhood and end up way over their head. Like,
yeah, there was some, like, moving to Utah, I was kind of shocked how much it felt like Washington still. Like, I thought it was going to be like a foreign place when we moved here. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it was going to feel really weird and foreign to me. Especially since, like, I went to college in southern Idaho, in Rexburg. And so, like, it's all Mormon there.
I think Rexburg is how people picture all of Utah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was.
And it's like, so there's parts of Utah that are definitely like that. Yeah. But it's like Salt Lake City, it's got the same crime rate and problems as any other city of that size.
Yeah, no, Salt Lake feels like a real city. Like, it's like, I don't know.
It almost is one. Well, it's crazy, too, because it's like, and I'm not going to get into political shit on the show, but it's like, people see, like, Utah's supposed to be this super red state, and they don't realize there's these two little blue dots, Park City and Salt Lake City, that are kind of the opposite of the rest of the state. And it's like, that's even shocking to people when they come here, like, oh,
Salt Lake's way more, like, progressive of a city than Spokane, where I came from.
Spokane, that is, like, we used to, like, this is when I was young. I'm 51 years old, almost 51, but, like, yeah, like, that was like the word on the street shit. Like when people say Seattle, it's hard to be Spokane. No, is it Spokane or is it the other one? Fuck, what's another hard city by there?
Yakima.
No, maybe it is Spokane. There was a city that's is by Seattle, and I can't remember the fucking name.
Tacoma.
They'd be like, nah, motherfucker, Tacoma. That's like, is Tacoma like that, or is that just some...
Yeah, Tacoma's like that.
Yeah, no, Tacoma, you don't want to fuck around there.
No, dude, I remember in high school, we went to football camp, right? And football camp, there'd be other high schools there. And so it wasn't just our high school. And our high school, like, I think we had, like, 4 black dudes and then, like, a couple, like, Tongans, and that was it. We, like, show up, and then we're scrimmaging against a school from Tacoma, all black dudes. Yeah. Like, and we were in awe. Like, we never seen anything like that before.
It was, this is, like, way out. It was just football. I was, like, I think it's sophomore football. South High, they closed that shit down now. But our team, I think, was mostly... I don't know. A lot of the starters would have been Tongan, but Springville was good that year. And Springville is a white town, like, and man, them white boys was so big. Like, even Polynesians, they ain't afraid of nothing. Like, we got off the bus, and the Tongan dudes was like, my God, look at these corn-fed white boys. They was in awe of the white dudes in Springville because they were so fucking big.
Yeah, dude, we did the opposite. We were just a bunch of, like, suburb white kids from Spokane, and we see the school from Tacoma, and we were like, oh, shit. Like, And I think like when we scrimmaged them, like they weren't that much better than us. But like if you're like a kid from like a suburb that's like majority white, and then you see a school that's all black kids, like you instantly like, oh, they're gonna beat the fuck out of us.
Yeah, you feed into the stereotypes and the shit you've seen in the movies. And,
yeah, then we played them and we're like, oh, they're not that much better than us. But like at the time, we were like getting nervous before the scrimmage.
Well, it's crazy too. Like I don't even know if it's still like this, but it's 10, 20 years ago, Provo, the basketball program was it was all white boys for the most part, but it's like their basketball program was so deep, you better start as a kid. And they were good as fuck. And it was just, they're still took basketball serious.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, it's because all the Mormon churches have a basketball court.
That's true, yeah.
That's what it is.
Hey, the neighborhood I grew up in, it didn't matter if you was Mormon or not, everybody played on that fucking church league.
Yeah.
And those things were brutal. Like that was the roughest basketball. Like, it was rougher than the playground. Like, and the refs were, they just regular. Like, we would have a bit like, can you foul out?
Yeah.
But it couldn't be on two technicals. You had to, and it was so hard to foul out of a fucking game. I was tackling motherfuckers, but then I'd pick up a technical for doing that, and it wouldn't count. So I couldn't. I don't think I ever was able to foul out.
Yeah, it was. I remember one year, this was in Washington, they had the church leagues up there too.
Yeah.
And they canceled it one season because a brawl broke out.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the Mormon church leagues is no fucking joke. They fight over this. It's crazy.
No, it doesn't make sense that, BYU has a Division I basketball team. It doesn't make sense. But then, when you kind of, look at the culture, then it does.
Yeah. It's you think BYU basketball fans or football fans are... No, the basketball fans are...
Oh, dude.
Half the football fans don't even know the fucking game. The basketball fans are fucking... They're hardcore.
Dude,
fans.
So I'm a diehard Gonzaga basketball fan.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
Stockton, baby.
Dude, Stockton, but I'm from Spokane. Gonzaga is all Spokane.
Right.
So Gonzaga is in the same conference as BYU. So they come down to Provo once a year. So Amanda and I, we go wearing all of our Gonzaga shit.
Yeah.
I saw an old lady, BYU fan, push a Gonzaga fan down the stairs.
Oh shit.
At the BYU game.
That's fucking
dude,
cool.
It was nuts.
Oh my god, that's cool.
Dude, the BYU fans were such assholes. They were so into it.
Yeah, for real. I've been, I haven't been for years, but I used to go to, I don't even watch sports other than MMA anymore. I think it's just a getting old thing.
Yeah.
It might be a recovery thing. Your personality just changed. I don't know, but I used to go to the Utah home games, and when we played BYU, them BYU fans, they wouldn't, not really intimidate. I challenged one to go outside once just because the shit they was talking, it was one of those years that BYU had beat Utah in football, and they beat us on our home court in basketball, and these motherfuckers are chanting just like football, and I was like, oh, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, that's a weird...
Mormons are very nice people, except when it comes to their sports.
It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Except with football. I went to... when Amanda and I first moved here, we'd been living here for a week, and BYU played Utah. And
that is a fun rivalry.
So we were we gotta check this out. So we went to the game, and I was hearing the trash talk, and it was really one-sided. It was the Utah fans talking trash.
Oh, at the game?
And the BYU fans were just they didn't know what to say. They were just freezing. It was so funny.
The online shit leading up to that will be pretty good. They canceled that rivalry when Utah went Pac-12. They just didn't play it for 2 years because it got too heated, too much physical violence and shit. They were just we're gonna chill this out, and it was like sacrilege to all of us. It's that's one of the better football rivalries in the country. I'm not gonna say it's top 5, but if you were to make it wouldn't make the list, I don't think. But if you were to make a list of top 10, 20 football, it'd have to be on that list.
Really?
It's more than 100 years old.
So you're from here, so it's ingrained.
Yeah, and it's kind of a religious thing, but it's also because there are Mormons who went to Utah that root for Utah. There's even an occasional non-Mormon. I'll tell you this shit. When I was cripping, I don't even like to say anything about my affiliation, but it ain't the specific game. But when I was cripping, we would wear BYU hats because that was the blue shit. Yeah, and like you had like Methodists out there, and BYU had Crippin because it was like, and a lot of the Crips was Mormon too, but the Polynesians and shit. But yeah, we were BYU.
That is a weird dynamic of these like Polynesian like gang members who go to church.
Oh, yo, man, I ain't gonna say too much shit like, good, because there ain't no statute of limitations on it. I know straight up killers who like fucking active members of the church. Like they ain't killing people no more, but more like real killers and shit that allegedly, because I don't want to get like I don't want to answer no questions from when I was a teenager and shit. But no, I know motherfuckers who kill people who are I've seen the wrong motherfucker go to prison. Yeah, this one motherfucker got talked into because he was a juvenile. You take the blame
because you get a lighter sentence.
They when they thought they put him in a juvenile, so they certified that motherfucker as an adult. He did 20 years.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, and then I worked with his fucking cousin, and I was like, "Yo, man, he didn't do that." He's like, "Yeah, none of the motherfuckers came to visit him the whole time he was in there." I was like, "Oh shit!" And I wasn't part of that shit that happened, but I was part of the same gang, so I knew the details.
Dude, that's wild. So that was one of the questions I was going to ask. I was like, so you were actually in a gang?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to say your affiliation.
No, it's still active. It's still
okay.
It's still it's nation.
So it's still because
like Crips.
I had this
Crips
perception.
are not a gang. More Crips kill Crips than any other.
Yeah.
Than like more Crips die by Crips than die by Bloods. But it's a gang that has national reach. It's like I'm not.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to like. I was in a rap group back in the day that got like underground national radio play, and we wasn't trying to glorify shit. And I never said the gang name, but you would talk that it was gangster rap, and you would talk some of that shit. And to us, it was like showing the dark. Well, to me, not to my partner, but it was like kind of showing the part of it's entertainment, part of it's this. Hey, this ain't a good thing, but like one of the marketing strategies we had, because like. The way we blew up locally was we would talk about the neighborhoods here, but there was certain neighborhoods that like Glendale, no biggie, but like Midvale, the fucking crime rate went up when one of our songs dropped. It was called Glendale to Midvale, and like murders went up and like gang affiliated shit. And I was like, I felt horrible. I was like, oh shit, and I don't know if it was coincidence.
Yeah.
But it's like
I hope it was.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope you did it. Actually, that'd be funnier.
It is funnier from a comedy perspective.
That is a funny thing to do.
Yeah, it was like, I don't even know if I'd say the name if it wasn't still. But they've been RICO'd before, so I ain't saying this shit.
Dude, that's crazy. Cause like I still like I have this perception that like. If there were gangs in Utah, that like that was like 15, 20 years ago, but it's still going on.
Yeah, I don't know how deep. Like, so I'm not in touch with. I'll still see the graffiti and shit. But one thing they did finally learn here was to take down graffiti the minute it goes up, because it's like the fucking newspaper. Like, that's where you put death threats. That's where like sometimes you know who's gonna die by who's crossed out on the wall. You know what I mean? Like, it's just and it escalates shit. Like we tagged the neighborhood one night and these cats crossed us out, and like I wasn't super high ranking, but this particular night I was like, there's not real ranks like the military, but it's like I had more cred than like anyway, this one cat that was there that was lower ranking than me, he was like, hey, I know who that motherfucker is, I know where he lives, let's go get the shotguns. Now I did not want to kill nobody over they crossed us out on a wall. It was on a bathroom in a park. I think it's Sorensen Park. It's called something different now, might be. But again, statute of limitations is up, so I don't give a fuck. But it was a cinder block building, but it had the old wood stalls in it. So no, let's send them a warning first. Let's cross them out, put our shit back up, and then burn this motherfucker down because the cinder block will still be visible. Yeah, so we went in there, like lit up the toilet paper rolls next to the fucking wood, and did that shit, and that was enough, like. Because I couldn't just be a bitch. I couldn't be like, we're not going to do nothing about this.
Yeah. And
crossing them out wouldn't have been enough. So I was like, all right, let's send a real message. And then they didn't fuck around after that. But I didn't like go back to that park for about a month or two. And they was like, they had construction going, rebuilding the bathroom. So I was like, oh, it must have worked. But yeah, we left before we even saw if it was on fire. So when they was rebuilding them, I was like, okay, that shit must have worked.
So you were born and raised in Glendale.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where Clayton moved when he first moved here.
Oh, yeah.
He lived in a shitty apartment in Glendale.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that. Like,
yeah.
I made fun of him. Because I was like, dude, you're moving to Utah. It doesn't matter what neighborhood. I was like, it's all Utah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like other people. Usually, if you don't fuck with people, they ain't gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
If you're not a gang member, you probably not gonna be fucked with unless you're going there too flamboyant. If you're trying to like wear a gold chain and drive a Ferrari down the street in Rose Park, somebody's gonna fuck with you. If not to take your shit, just to fuck with you. But they probably gonna take some shit from you. At least if it's still anything like it was. I'm so not tapped into that culture anymore. I'm just like,
jeez. Yeah, so moving here blew my mind how many non-white people there were in Utah.
Yeah, that's the other...
Because, like, you have this impression that, like, Utah is all, like, it's just all Rice Krispie treats and white people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought. And I moved here in the second I got here, like, just in Orem. I was like, oh, shit, there's way more brown people here than in Spokane.
Yeah, I think where I grew up, is the majority is Mexican now. It's like...
Oh, I believe
by
that.
By far.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
I've
probably...
Was it always like that?
When I was younger, I think white people might have been the biggest group, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near 50%.
Yeah.
But I think it's over 50% Mexican. Now there's always a lot of Polynesians, but there's not a lot of Polynesians to begin with. So Utah got a high Polynesian by standards of other states. The black population here is kind of low, but what people don't realize is there's still, like, we did a black show last month. It was like all black comics and me. So pretty much a black show. And they, like, that motherfucker was sold out. It was like, it was at Club 90, but it was
really? Oh, it was an Aaron Wesley show.
Yeah, they had a separate room though.
And yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. Amanda did one of Aaron's shows.
Yeah, did she do the downstairs room? Because they got an upstairs room. We're in the downstairs room.
It was the downstairs room.
Yeah, there was, and it's the one where they usually play the poker. And
yeah, same room.
Yeah, that motherfucker was so full that they moved a bunch of tables in there, but there were people who bought tickets that had to stand up the whole show.
Really?
So I mean, like I said, Utah got a low percentage of black people, but there's a community.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, doing comedy, it's way more fun to do comedy in front of not white people.
Yeah, it is.
Because, dude, I've never been lectured about a joke.
That's true.
By someone who's not a white chick. That's like, I've only had white women.
Here's the thing. I got mixed emotions on it because I used to like think, okay, white crowds aren't as fun, but it's kind of a double-edged sword because the type of shit white crowds are fun for me, but a lot of times the dudes who are really way too into it are older than me, and they got some views that, like, maybe if I say some shit that is racist or homophobic or that can be interpreted that way, they really feel that way. And it's some of them, and it's like, oh no, yeah, I'm Billy Bob. I wasn't trying to reinforce what you, you know. It's like I'm making fun of this shit, but in the end, I don't give a fuck. If you laugh, you laugh. I'm just trying to be, you know what I mean.
That's the thing. All the jokes come from like a place of. All jokes come from the same place, usually. Yeah. Like they're usually not coming from a place of hate.
No, if a joke is coming from a place of hate, it's really hard to make it work, and people don't understand.
It's not going to work.
It's not.
Unless you're at a rally,
fucking Klan rally. Yeah,
then it's going to kill.
But you can't deliver a joke from a place. And it is. I mean, people know this anyway, but it's interesting. Like there's certain jokes that if I do them, it's like, please let a black person be here. Yeah. So that the white people can see them laughing and know it's okay to laugh.
So I have a joke that I've done about the NFL, about how they paint in the end zones and racism.
Yeah, dude. That's a good joke.
I do a joke about how that's retarded. And every time there's a black person in the audience, I'm like, this is going to do good. Yeah. Like, but especially if I do it in Provo. If I do it in Provo and it's all white people, it's gonna bomb so hard every time.
I love just watching the racial dynamics on stage too. Cause there's certain there's shit that the black audience is cool because they're not gonna laugh if it's not funny.
Yeah.
But like there's downsides to everything. Like, and we're dealing in stereotypes, but fuck it, stereotypes are there for like. Polynesians, black folks, some of the gay material that I do, especially when I imply that I might be gay.
Yeah, dude, that's not good.
Don't go over well, homie. Like, Mexicans can be like that to a degree too, but it depends.
For sure.
Yeah,
Dude, when I lived in Guatemala, I saw gay dudes get rocks thrown at them.
Yeah. No, oh yeah, I know in Mexico it's like some but fucking it's just it's weird. Sometimes I like the show we just did at Club 90. I knew there were jokes that I probably shouldn't do to a black, but there is also a gay black community, and I knew some of them were there. But when I did the gay material where people are like, oh shit, is he gay? That's the only motherfuckers laughing until I deliver a punchline that they go, okay, maybe he's not, you know. And I never let them in by the end.
Yeah.
Because I want to do that joke about not having labels, and I couldn't get the whole. I only got half the audience to cheer, but I talk about growing up and different things and this label and that label. It basically goes from being straight to bi-curious to bi. And when I finally had sex with a man like that better, suddenly I was gay. And I'm like, can I just get a round of applause? If I can just be human, and I only got half that crowd to clap, but then the punchline goes, "Thank you," because I don't understand why.
Dude, yeah. Every time, the first time I saw that joke,
yeah, just because he didn't want me to.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, just because he didn't want me to fucking. Why I gotta be a rapist? And it's like I want to deliver that because if you deliver that early, it could kill the whole set.
Yeah.
And I've done that, but there's 2 more tags to that joke that go into pedophilia and necrophilia that I usually don't even do, and yeah, it's by far my worst fucking. But I love it.
Yeah, dude. No, what I've noticed, people in Utah are a lot. The white people I met, it's just maybe it's a Provo thing because Provo is not the same as Salt Lake.
You Provo white people are next level shit.
They are really weird about race stuff. Like, so I can't do any jokes that like touch anything racial.
Yeah.
Which is like, if they're really weird about the race jokes, I know that they're also really weird around black people. That's what I've learned. Like,
and sometimes it's just blatant shit too. Like, it's everywhere in any part of the nation, but like in Utah County, sometimes shit is just. Like, Springville is a real cool, laid back city, and we lived there for a while. But my wife at the time was Asian, and then I look how I look, and like people like sometimes they're like, "What's the mix?" or they're like, "Oh, this white trash motherfucker," and I'm tattooed up, but we had next door neighbors that like, as soon as we would come in the yard, they going inside and we try to say hi, and they would the lady would only talk to my wife if the husband wasn't there. And my wife wasn't getting it. She was just like, what? I was like, because you dark and I look how I look and talk how I like. You dark and I'm probably white trash to them, or I'm some mix to them. And it was fucking wild. It was just, he was not going to give us a chance.
Really?
And I am dirt. Like, I'm scum. He's probably right about me, but. Yeah, my wife was raised in Springville, though. It was like, what the.
Yeah.
Like,
no, the people are weird. If, like, I don't know. Like, if you have a black friend who can't swim and you don't make fun of them,
you have to make fun of them.
I think you're racist.
If
you don't make fun of them, you're racist.
When somebody fits a stereotype, it has to be pointed out.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to hack on.
Well, and that's how like you bond with people of like different races. You kind of shit on each other and make jokes.
Yeah.
Like that's how. That's how you become genuine friends.
That's dudes in general, but
yeah,
black dudes. The black dudes that I've hung out with, we hacked on each other worse than that's like next level shit.
Yeah,
it was constant. They have Polynesians too.
Dude, Polys are so funny.
But it's usually the Polys who grew up in black neighborhoods.
Dude, I miss that open mic at Rakava.
Are they still doing that at all, or?
Dude, I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
But Moana, such a good hang. And that dude was so funny. He was so funny. Like, dude, I would hang out there sometimes he said I could come by any time and do comedy. So I'd come like on a Thursday night and just show up and he'd hand me the microphone and I'd do a set.
Yeah.
But, dude, I would just sit there and listen to the dude talk for like all night. And he was so funny.
Yeah,
so funny.
If he just did some ABC set up punchline tag type of shit, he would.
Dude, he would kill if he did comedy.
It was fun. Yeah, I feel the same way. But with me and him, sometimes I stay there way too late, or really early in the morning, just talk. And this is how cool he was, though, like, because he's much younger than me. He's not as far removed. We're from rival gangs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we cool. Yeah, like, we would talk about that shit because it's funny to us. You know?
Yeah, because I knew he was in that. He played football at the U.
Did I know that? I might have known that, but
yeah, he got in like in an accident that like ended his football career.
Yeah.
But the dude, like, he's kind of skinny now, but the dude was like 260 pounds, like just jacked.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are there more Let's Get Fired?
Yeah, we do.
We're talking too much. My bad, bro.
No, dude, this is really good stuff. Actually, this is.
Let's get fired. Let's talk some real shit.
Dude, here's a question that your employer won't want to know.
Okay.
Have you ever sucked dick for dope?
No. I have not. Andy Gold got a real good routine about that, though. Like, because that is a stereotype, and I will make jokes about that because it's funny, but it's like, Andy's like, nobody got in a dope game trying to get a blowjob from this guy. Like, women can suck dick for dope, but unless you're a drug dealer's gay, even then, it's too easy to get your dick sucked. Dudes will suck your dick without needing dope.
Dude. All right, so the next question here. The question I have is ask if you're in a gang. Ask if you ever robbed anyone. Because these are just all fun questions for HR to hear. But
we robbed like the 7-Up company one time when I was like.
Really, like one of the trucks, or
no? It was the whole. It was in Glendale. It was the 7-Up bottling company, and so we what we did is we stole a bunch of stereos out the trucks because this is back in the days of cassette players and
just
shit.
Crazy.
We stole a bunch of stereos out the trucks, and then we stole a ton of the sodas and shit. But we moved them to this field by another company, and then we cut the lock on the other company and cut holes in the fence so that we wouldn't be, because this is before most places had cameras, but we just didn't want to be even witness type of shit. So then we hauled all the shit through these fields, through the fences we cut holes in, and loaded them into the trunk of my car. And it was like, I don't know, I want to say at least 300 cans of pop. And then a bunch of stereos, but then we tagged the rival gang all over on the inside to throw them off. And like,
that's so funny. Does that shit work, or
we always assumed it did. I mean, I didn't get. The next morning, my pops was driving me to football practice, and there was cops all over, like all out in front of it, like lights on and shit. I was like, okay, fuck. And then when the school year started. And over the summer, I did a lot of shit, but we broke it into like just a fucking soda machine and taking all the money and the soda out of that. And I got caught. So this is what happened, because the police are, and I'm just like, fuck it, no confession, no case. Because they'll lie and say they had witnesses or your homies told on you, blah, blah, blah. But they're like, no, man, we've been hearing from people you was handing out soda and bragging about this shit. And I'm like, I don't brag about no chump. And then I was like, oh, shit, we was handing out 6 packs of soda that we stole from the 7-Up company. And, like, the vending machine, that's a misdemeanor. The shit we did at the 7-Up company was a felony. So I was like, yeah, you're right. I was lying. I confessed because my mind, and I was probably, if he started asking too many questions,
he'd start linking.
We wasn't like bragging to people, but homies knew, and homies tell other homies.
Yeah.
And it eventually gets outside of the little crew, you know, and it's like, yeah. So I was like, if he keep asking questions, it's going to come up that, no, we robbed the 7-Up company, because nobody knew we did the vending machine.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I did rob that vending machine. We was bragging about it. And so I had to pay back like $50 in cash and like $75 worth of soda or some shit. But it was like, but yeah, I confessed to that one because like, shit, they going to get me for a felony. Because we also fucked up some of the vehicles, and there was another company that, there was a car we wanted to stereo. And, but when we first went there, it was daylight. We were stupid. We went back at night, but we were throwing rocks at this car window from behind the fence trying to break it, and dented up the whole fucking car, missing the window. So finally, one of the dudes I was with just went in and just busted the window, and then we stole that stereo in broad daylight. But then we came back and stole the stereos out the trucks, and I mean, we did thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage we didn't have to do. So
dude, growing up like in Glendale, how did it like start? Like, how did you like get involved in that?
Like gang shit?
Yeah, like
fear.
Like, do you just get invited to it just because you live there, or like what's...
No, and like I don't know. When I hear about gangs recruiting people, I'd be like, "What the fuck are you even?"
Yeah.
I remember there, but motherfuckers trying to get in and be like, "Bitch, nah, we don't want you." Like,
Yeah.
in fact, like gang housing, we never jumped anybody in unless they was like, if they was okay, we got to jump you in because then this motherfucker's gonna back out if we knew he was soft.
Yeah.
But it was. Yeah, it was. You tired of getting fucked with by gangs your whole life growing up, you know. The gang I eventually joined, man, they used to fuck with me sometimes.
Dude, I'm so soft. I'd get.
I was not hard, man. Like all of us acting. 95% of gang members are scared as fuck, but you join a gang because you scared as fuck, and you act hard because you want people to think you gonna hurt them before they hurt you.
Yeah.
But really, it's gotta be somewhere between 1% and 5% that are really hard and really enjoy that shit. You know,
dude,
some people it's all.
What a crazy existence to be the person who enjoys that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
I knew some motherfuckers who were like that, and there's probably a higher percentage in the crew I was running with. But I think a lot of it too is it's gonna be a crazy thing to say, but like the high school I went to was the bad high school. They closed it down while I was there, and there was a lot of sense of community pride. Like we was the poor kids, you know. It was like South High, and gang membership shot up the summer after that, and that's when I joined. And I know it had something to do with that, but part of it was just like I have this. All of a sudden, I become real friendly with some of these dudes, and some of these other dudes used to fuck with me. You know? And it's like, and plus it was just like the hardest gang at that time. It was like, and there was another aspect to it too, because like, okay, a lot of these gangs that fuck with me way worse and these just dudes that there was a disagreement and so they wanted to kick my ass. It wasn't a gang thing, and now I'm running from their older brothers and shit. But like the gangs that really fucked with me growing up or stole shit from me or broke into our house or whatever, it's like, okay, now I get to fuck with these motherfuckers and what you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the same dudes, but it was like, okay, fuck them. Yeah, it's just a fucked up sick mindset. Like, but it ain't like anybody who grew up in that situation gonna end up like that. It ain't.
Really?
I'm not anybody. I guess there's a lot of dudes who didn't, but it's you either grow up running or you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
it's a socioeconomic.
Well, I don't know what you mean. I grew up in like a suburb in
What is the thing?
So.
If I grew up in a suburb in Spokane, I would have had your experience.
Yeah.
If you grew up in Glendale, you would have had mine. It's not. Yeah, I say it's like a sick mindset, but it's really not. For the most part, the fault of the people that's there. It's just where you grow up. Yeah.
But yeah, there's like no. Gangs and I mean I'm sounding like
how did I confuse
I'm sounding like an idiot.
How did I confuse Spokane with
Spokane actually has like one of the highest crime rates in the country.
Does it? Okay.
And Spokane is bad. As far as there being organized gangs, I don't know. There's just a lot of like meth is really big in Spokane. Like so just like anywhere you go in downtown Spokane, you'll see people tweaking. Yeah. But that's it. But like
organized gangs
also organized.
The gangs aren't as organized as people think they are either.
It's the Russians. Like because in Spokane there's no black people. There's no Mexicans. There's no.
Hey, them Russians don't fuck around. That's like some real organized crime.
So like
shit.
Russians do shit in Spokane. Now, like, I don't know if they're still very prevalent, but, like, when I was a kid, it was 100% okay to be openly racist towards Russians. Yeah. Because in Spokane, it was the stereotype. Russians commit all the crime. They steal all the cars.
Because the motherfuckers do.
Yeah. I feel bad. One of my best friends in elementary school, he was Russian, like, fresh from Russia, like barely spoke English. I almost said
we used to call motherfuckers FOB, fresh off the boat.
I almost said that, but I was like, I don't know if Russians take a boat to get here or not.
Yeah, they probably fresh off the plane.
But no, dude, he did barely spoke English, and we were like, we were tight.
Take a boat to get here. We still call FOBs, fob ass motherfucker.
But yeah, dude, Russians. There's a lot of like in Spokane, you'll see like Russian churches, and they have like all the signs are in Russian. And you go to the mall, and there's like a Russian newspaper stand at the mall and stuff.
La Habra, California. I used to call that West Korea because fucking half the signs were in Korean.
It's because those places like have the Koreatown and shit. But yeah, no, Washington has to be the whitest place in the country.
You think? Why did it?
Or Vermont.
Oh, Vermont is pretty good.
Vermont.
Yeah. But I knew some dudes from Eastern Washington that came to play for the U. Big corn-fed white boy type. And I was working with it. It's like, they was on a graveyard shift. And all colleges cheat. If you're in Division I, people don't realize that. But one of the ways that the U would cheat at the time was they give these dudes... The boosters would get him a job. One of my bosses was a big U booster, so he was also working for. So he gave him a job on the graveyard shift, and I was the shift lead, but I couldn't tell these motherfuckers shit because their deal was you just come hang out and play cards all night. This is how we pay you to play football.
Yeah.
But they would talk about growing up racist and never seeing a black person in person until they came to Salt Lake, and the locals telling them, "Oh, he's gonna rape you in your ass," and look out for them black, like crazy. Out the movie shit, like people don't really believe that.
Dude,
like
that's
these dudes,
crazy.
he was like, "Yeah, I was so scared of black people when I came."
Growing up in Spokane, so Spokane's like very white, but we're 30 minutes away from the Idaho border.
Yeah.
And so when I was a kid, they had like Nazi compounds.
This is that time. This is the 90s. Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho was known for that shit.
Since then, like. I haven't heard about the Nazi shit since I was like a kid. I think they got rid of it all. Like there was a Nazi compound on Lake Coeur d'Alene in Idaho, and they got rid of that. But when I was a kid, we'd hear about that. I found out about it in school because like I saw a book about like fascism in the U.S. and saw a picture of these Nazis.
Yeah.
And then in the caption it said Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I was like, "What? That's like 30 minutes from where I live." I was like, "No way!" Like
that's crazy. Coeur d'Alene is beautiful too.
Dude, Coeur d'Alene is my favorite place in the world. If in some weird fantasy I can make it as a comic and like I can just have a life where I'm flying out to gigs. If I could do it from Coeur d'Alene. There's a comic.
What's the Flathead Lake in Montana?
That's nice.
That's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
You know Dan Cummins?
Yeah.
He lives in Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
Yeah. He started in Spokane.
I could do summers and springs in Coeur d'Alene. Yeah. Part of the fall, but
winters.
It's too cold for me here. Yeah. Fuck that,
dude. Yeah. Except this winter here.
This
winter is like a Spokane winter for me.
Yeah, it's like Happy Easter, motherfucker. It's snowing like a son bitch outside. Holy shit. I'm just hoping to hold good through the weekend, the weather now that it's halfway sunny. Yeah.
Dude, so I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite racial slur?
There's so many good ones. Yo, you're going to get taken. It's just because it's so funny, man. Tar Baby is the funniest one.
Tar Baby? What's that one?
Have you ever seen that?
I never heard that.
No, it's a skit on Saturday Night Live, the old ones when it was good. It was Chevy Chase and Eddie Murphy. And it's a word association game. They're doing a psychological test. Eddie Murphy's applying for a job. And Chevy Chase is reading him word and start out cat, dog, and eventually black, white, and he starts going into racial slurs, and the Tar Baby is one of them that he used. It's just, and then he dropped.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, and eventually, dude run out. Jesus Christ, was Richard? Now I'm gonna look racist. I'm trying to remember if it was Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy. One of them black dudes. It might have been Richard Pryor actually. That's all right. Eddie Murphy copied him. He admits
doesn't help that they both have mustaches either.
Well, Eddie Murphy used to directly rip off his style, and Eddie admitted that. So, no, it was. But I think it was Pryor. But because by the end, he runs out of white racial, so she's like honky, 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 and then Chevy Chase dropped the N-bomb on him, and you could say that on national TV back then. He just said honky, honky, and he's like dead honky. And then Chevy Chase offered him the job for like triple the fucking wage.
That's funny. Yeah. My favorite's always Italian ones because there's like 20 different ones for Italians.
You're going to get kicked off of YouTube behind that Tar Baby shit.
I'm posting this, so we'll see.
It. And it ain't nothing. It's just the funniest sounding one to me. Like, there was some good Asian ones. It wasn't Pie Face, that one, but yeah.
I like that for Italians you can go Dago, Guinea, Ginzo.
Wop. I remember Wop when I was a kid. Like, that was like
there's 10 different ones for the same thing.
Yeah. They also got a lot of good they insults for other people in Italian.
Yeah. I didn't know about like white racial slurs, like for like white ethnic groups like Italians and stuff until I like visited my wife's family. I didn't know what I didn't know what a Polak was until I went to the East Coast.
I just remember my favorite one is White Patty.
White Patty, what's that?
It's not. I haven't heard it since I was a kid in elementary school. But yeah, they call you White Patty. Like, shut up, White Patty. It just, I don't know where the fuck it came from, but White Patty, that's the funniest one to me, just because it's the same thing as Tar Baby. It just sounds so fucking weird. It's off the wall.
Yeah. All right, last question. I close with this one every time. If there's one country you would wipe off the face of the earth with a nuke, which country would it be?
Fucking United States. No, I'm just maybe if I wasn't here and my friends and family. No, holy shit. One country I would wipe off the face of the earth. I need to keep up with more shit politically. Is Iran still pretty oppressive and homophobic? And
yeah, but so is every other country around there.
That's true.
Dude, Iran used to be sick before the U.S. got involved. Like, Iran, like, had, like, if you look like, Google image, like, Iran 1960s, like, women would, like, wear bikinis and stuff, and they were, like, very westernized.
Oh, wow.
But, like, the CIA put, like, a dictator in there, and they were kind of fed up with it. And so then, like, religious extremists took over the government. That's how, like, the Iran, like, hostage happened.
Here's the country I'll wipe off the face of the map. If I had to, I really wouldn't wipe off it, but if I had to, and you made me choose,
you have to pick right now.
This is the honest fucking truth. All right. Ethically, I would just say, okay, what got the smallest population, and I'll do that one. But if all ethics is out the window, well, it wouldn't be all ethics out the window.
Dude, we're killing a whole country. There's no ethics
Yeah. That and it would be Ukraine for real. Just because I'm so sick of hearing the bullshit stand. It's like it's the same fucking shit. I don't give a fuck that this dude is a fucking ex-comedian that is the president of the country. Like, he got Nazi fucking ties. It's not as simple as motherfuckers painted on either side. Yeah. It's like the whole area they're going to war over are...
Dude, this is the most fireable thing you're saying right now.
It's people who were... They had already voted to secede from Ukraine. Ukraine was actively bombing this region before Russia invaded. Yeah. It's like there were people who were trying to secede from Ukraine and rejoin Russia or be independent, depending on the region. Anyway, and Ukraine is fighting to keep some motherfuckers that don't want to be there. Russia's trying to fight to take some motherfuckers in that want to be part of their country anyway. Not all of them, but it's like it's fucked up on both. I just hate to stand with.
It's fucked up on both sides.
It's like you simple-minded sheep motherfuckers. Like
no, dude. Whenever I see
anyone, motherfuckers that wore masks during COVID, and I'm not a Republican, but they was right about that shit. Like
no, it is weird that Republicans were right because they.
I hated the thing I hated worst about COVID was if I went into a store, because I hate Democrats too, and I am far to one side or the other, and it don't matter which side that is, but to me they're the same fucking party with a few differences. But I hated it if I went into a store, if I opted to leave the mask off, if I was feeling angry that day and was like, fuck you, what you gonna do? Because I didn't want to wear a mask. People would assume I was Republican, especially when I was out of state.
Dude, which is crazy.
If I was like in a state that was more balanced, or was down in Nevada or something, but people would assume I was Republican if I didn't wear the mask, and if I did, they would assume I was Democrat, and I hated that shit. Yeah. It was like, why is whether I wear this mask a political statement? It's like this. I just had other beliefs from
Utah. Was a much better place because Amanda and I moved here in 2021. where Utah was done with COVID by 2021.
Dude, they were so, like I said, I sat out of open mics for 18 months because I didn't know Wise Guys opened after a month.
Dude, that's crazy.
I'm listening to comedians on national podcasts bitch about how everything's shut down and have to do the car honk shows and the online shows and shit, the Zoom shows, and then I find out Wise Guys has been open for the last 17 months.
Dude, Amanda and I were in Washington the whole time, and we couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, 1 year into COVID was when the club opened up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went 12 months without going on stage. And,
I fought 18 following the worst bomb of that. And you know how hard it is when you're new to get back on stage after you bomb.
Yes, that's,
like now it's
that's
like
the hardest thing.
Now it's like, yeah. Now if I bomb, it's like there's one of two things happen. Either I already know why I bombed, and I probably knew what I wasn't supposed to do before I did it, and that just confirmed it. Or if I don't know why I bombed, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna learn something and then if I go back and watch the film enough and ask around, like, I'll figure out why I bombed. And it's like, okay, now I just learned something. It's like, it sounds cliche, but sometimes bombing is way more valuable than killing.
Yeah.
You learn a lot more.
Sometimes. I like killing.
I do,
because
it's a double-edged sword.
Sometimes when I kill, I don't know why I killed. Mm-hmm. So I love killing, and then
but that could be just as that's the thing, because you can learn from killing. People don't know you can learn from killing. Why did I kill?
Absolutely learn from
was
killing.
Was it just a butter audience? Because it could be that, or was my delivery sometimes I've thought my delivery.
You watch the film, you pick out why they laughed at certain things, and then you replicate that next
Sometimes
time.
I've thought my delivery was way better than it usually is, because I felt comfortable, and I watch the film back and be like, oh no, that crowd was just butter. My delivery, I was stuttering, and I didn't know I was tripping over words. I have a tendency to cut sentences short and not realize I'm doing it. And but then there's other times that it's like, oh yeah, I killed because I slowed way down. Sometimes in the moment you pause for an extra second, and it's like, oh, they need a little more time to process that one.
I guess the one good thing from bombing, for me at least, is like I never want to feel that feeling again.
Bombing's a double-edged sword for me because you do learn a lot from it, but it usually takes me 4 or 5 actual paid shows to get my momentum and confidence back after that. So it is a double-edged sword because it's like it hurt the confidence, but I've learned so much from some of my bombs, and I've only had 2 on paid shows, and those hurt the worst. But it's still, I know exactly what I did wrong and exactly. And in both cases, I knew I was running. I thought I could get the audience back if the joke fell flat. And it was a matter of no, the joke was so offensive for that audience that there was no coming back from it. And that taught me, like... Hey,
that's the worst, when the audience writes you off after, like, one joke.
Yeah.
I've had that. I guess... I'm going to share this. We're probably going to wrap it up here in a second, but... Dude, one of the worst bombs. I don't know if you saw my set last night, but I started off the joke saying I met a vet today. By vet, I mean the kind that helps animals, not the homeless kind.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
That gets a good laugh. But I did that in North Idaho in front of like a bunch of Vietnam vets, and it bombed so hard. They booed.
Really?
And then they started chanting USA, USA. Like I was going after the vets. Like
he's like, no, there was a homeless joke.
Then I had to double down. So I was like, oh shit, no, I'm sorry, that never happens. People who leave the military never go homeless. I'm
yeah.
I'm just full of shit.
And I'm sure that didn't work.
That did not work. That did not work.
I feel blessed in the sense that my two bombs that were on actual shows, they came halfway through the set, but it was. And both of them were like Karan Reddy he was there. He made fun of me after one of them because it was on one of the Wise Guys' son, and he's like, "Man, I've never seen somebody go from killing that hard to bombing that hard ever." And I'd done the same thing a week before with a different joke. Both jokes I knew I shouldn't be, but I put them both in the middle of the set, thinking, "Okay, I'll get the crowd going with the shit I know is gonna work, and then I'll drop this in here, and if it don't work, I'll recover." And I did it 2 weeks in a row, like one at a bar show. There was a crowd that didn't know me, but the Sunday Special people know me, and even they were like, yeah, that. And it was.
Oh no!
The mistake on the second one, it was a penis joke, but it was one that I knew I had to deliver the wording perfectly. And I'd never even done it on an open mic, and I delivered as soon as it came out of my mouth. I knew I delivered the words wrong.
Oh no!
And I should have been able to recover from that.
Does the Sunday special have good crowds?
Most of the time. Sometimes it gets a little. They're usually pretty responsive, but they can be very honest too.
Yeah.
Like people will bomb on the Sunday special, and I
bummer.
bombed on the Sunday special, but I'd rather have. Okay, like 2 Sunday specials ago, I absolutely murdered, and it was fun, but it was an easy fucking crowd. Last Sunday special, I did really well, but the crowd response wasn't as good as the one before. But I was more proud of that one than the one where I just murdered, because it was a tough crowd actually, and my delivery was way better. It was like I felt like that was some of the best delivery of my life. And this is a crowd that was tepid the whole time, and more than a few comics had what I would call a bomb. Maybe they wouldn't, you know what I mean? But it was like, it was a crowd that was tougher to get. And so I think it's more fun to get a crowd that is tough, I think, than to just slay a crowd that is going to laugh at anything.
Yeah. I do like the crowds that will laugh at anything, but that's...
Oh, it's always fun. Yeah, it's fun for sure.
That's why I was really excited for Skankfest last year, because I thought that's what it was going to be.
No, it wasn't, was it?
It was not at all. I had a rough set. I got thrown onto a show. So the booker texted me like 5 minutes before the show and said, hey, do you want to go on this show? And it was like on one of the main stages at the festival. And I knew like it wasn't going to be like a ton of people. I mean, it was still filled, the theater, but I knew that one thing that sucked, you know Big J Okerson?
Oh, yeah.
He was taping his special in the room next door. And so everyone who was in the room that I was in, they were there because they couldn't get into Big J's
God. Yeah.
So they're all there because of that. I get there, but I'm still on one of the main stages at Skankfest. So I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Because like they have a one room that's almost like an endless, it's not an open mic, but it's like, it's endless comedy all day. It's just a stand up from noon until 1 a.m. They have stand ups nonstop. There's no breaks. And the comedian, there's no MC. The comedians just bring the next comic up.
Right.
So you go on and you got to remember who's the person after you, because you bring them up, and then that just goes on for a cycle. And so like if you're a lower level comic like myself, and there's a bunch of pros at Skankfest, you don't really get opportunities on the main stage.
Right.
Most of your opportunities are in this room where they're just filtering out comedians nonstop.
Yeah, I'm in the play. I don't care where they put me at Skankfest. I'll be fucking...
No, it's still, it's a crazy...
But you got on the main...
So I get on the main stage, and I'm like, holy shit. Then I get there, and the stage manager takes me backstage, and they're like, oh, you're Drew, you're emceeing. I'm like, oh,
what
shit.
What the fuck?
And then on the show is Aaron Berg. You'd like him a lot. You should look him up. Aaron Berg, Brian Holtzman, who's like a Comedy Store legend, and Josh Wolf. And I'm like, fuck, I'm emceeing. And then I asked him how much time, and I'm like, 12 minutes. And which I have 12 minutes, that's fine.
Oh, yeah. But I know you got 12 easy.
But I'm backstage, and these like famous comics who I like am in awe of, they start talking to me before the show. So I'm not able to mentally prepare a set.
Yeah, I was going to say, that would rattle me being thrown into MC, and especially people on that level. I hear you're doing this.
The show's at noon. And it's the second day of the festival, so everyone's like hella like hungover.
Yeah, I've done 2-day shows. I won't say that they were rough, but it was harder to...
This is the first show that day of the festival.
Oh, man.
It's the first show that day. And so everyone's like hungover from the night before. Because the festival is nonstop shows from noon until 1 a.m. Every day of the festival. So you're on that noon show, and I come out as the MC, and I'm a pretty low energy dude on stage. Yeah. So I like did things that were like that I've never done before. Like I grabbed the mic and I was like, "What is up, Skankfest?" And I like tried to build the energy. And then I go into my material, and it was a rough set. I mean, there were some parts I got laughs. Like, it wasn't, like, the worst bombing ever, but just because...
I don't think I've ever heard you say, what's up, or how you doing. You don't usually do that, right?
No. Yeah, I just jump into my material.
Yeah, I've never, like, when I'm emceeing something, I think... I don't want to say I don't want to ask them how they're doing because I don't give a fuck. Like, are you gonna laugh? And I know that's what you're really asking when how you doing. But yeah, the most I'll do is like if I'm doing like an open mic, I'm emceeing that. It's like, are you ready to chuck some fury? It's like okay, I can say that and that'll be different, but it means the same thing.
Yeah. I just thought every show would be like easy laughs because like Skankfest draws like the most hardcore comedy fans who like they want to hear crazy shit. And no, it is still like some of the rooms were hard.
Yeah,
like I was shocked that you
the thing
still
with
had to
hardcore
work,
comedy fans too because they consume a lot of comedy.
That is the thing.
Yeah, and they have a higher standard.
Yeah,
but I do remember that just doing when I first started doing paid shows. It was and then in the reverse because you're so used to having to work for it at open mics, and halfway through the set realize cause scared to death you're gonna bomb, and halfway through the set realizing these motherfuckers paid to laugh. They want to laugh. It's not like pulling teeth. But yeah, then there's that next level that's hardcore comedy fans.
Like they consume every podcast. They consume and they're big. Like they know who all these comics are. Like they know they have more of a knowledge of professional stand-ups than I do, and I do comedy. That's the thing. Like the fans who go to Skankfest, they can name you all the guys who like they're big fans of. They can name all the podcasts in New York, and they know everything about comedy. And so like it's nice because like if you have good stuff, it's gonna kill.
Yeah.
And also it's like not censored. You can say whatever you want. I like told a dude he should kill himself, and I called him a faggot, and they laughed. I can never do that at Wise Guys.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine how Keith would respond if you just tell someone like kill yourself, you faggot?
I don't think. Yeah, I've said faggot on stage at Wise Guys a lot, but
I might say it soon. I have a bit I'm working on, but it's like I got carefully crafted.
I think with Keith is like there's certain words that if you say them, you better get the fucking audience. Or maybe he's just never heard me say faggot. I don't know.
I'll pitch it to you right now.
All right.
So, I want to talk about... I have a friend who's gay, but he uses the word gay like how we did when I was in high school.
Yeah, like, that's gay.
Yeah. So like one time I was hanging out with him and I was like, dude, you want to go to the mall? I was like, I want to buy a new shirt. And he was like, nah, that's kind of gay. And, I was like, dude, you literally...
Have you run that at open mic?
I ran that once.
Okay, because I've heard you do the bit.
Like,
yeah, it's good.
Literally had sex with men. And he was like, yeah, but not in a gay way. Like, but
that's good.
And then I want to take that into... Because that's a real friend of mine. But that's kind of like my childhood friends are like that. And like, when I was a kid, like... we were progressive homophobes, if that makes sense. And this is what I want to say on stage. I've never said this part. And by progressive homophobes, I mean, like, if we saw someone calling a gay kid fag, we'd be like, hey, don't do that. But, like, we'd also have no problem calling our straight friends gay. You know? Like,
yeah.
And then I want to do, like, a premise where I'm like, it would be fun if there was a world where gay kids would bully each other, but they would call each other straight. Like, like, what are you, straight? Like... Dude, you're so fucking hetero. But I don't know how to word that, so I'm...
Oh, this got legs, though. I'm trying to work out one where it's... it was the whole vegan shit I was talking about before, but, like, you know, going to lunch with a gay friend and him ordering tofu and me asking, are you vegan? And him going, God, no, I'm not a fag.
That's a funny line. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Dude, thanks for doing it.
How long did we go, man?
Dude, we are an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, I thought we were coming up on 2. Holy shit. I hope it's as good as it felt. It
felt really good. I think we breezed through it. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm going to we're going to get big, and in 20 years, we're going to get canceled. Someone's going to dig this shit up on YouTube.
Dude, this whole podcast...
Did you hear they said Tarbit? Motherfuckers.
Dude, this whole podcast, I mean, the whole name, Let's Get Fired, it's for, like...
Yeah, I know. It's like, if you don't know what you're getting into when you come on this podcast, you're dumber than me. Because I knew.
All right.
you're fired.